Hey guys, Ron here, and this is part 4 of a series where I turn video game characters into Pokemon. I tried my best to consider how their abilities translate into Pokemon moves and stats, and you enjoyed part 1 where I made Pokemon based on icons like Sonic and Pac-Man, and part 2 with the Samus Pokemon and Minecraft Steve Pokemon, and the Sans Pokemon from part 3. So, we'll continue with some more fan-favorite protagonists that I asked you guys to suggest on Twitter. So make sure to follow me there, because I ask you guys questions for upcoming videos almost every day on Twitter. Keep in mind, the types and concepts of these Pokemon aren't gonna literally be the same as their inspiration. Just because I'm making a Shantae Pokemon, that doesn't mean it's gonna be a literal genie. I want to create separate, believable Pokemon that have unique concepts based on their origin. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't, because next week I'm releasing the video that you guys actually helped me make over on Twitter. So one of the most requested characters for me to redesign has been Crash Bandicoot. It's the only animal in today's video, so it'll be relatively easy to translate it into a Pokemon. I'm gonna probably take a bit more inspiration from actual Bandicoots, but it'll still be long and wacky. The thing is, I want to maintain the triangle shape, because I want to give the Pokemon a figure like a tornado. The Crash-inspired Pokemon will have the power to spin at incredible speed, so perhaps I'll give him some patterns that mimic the powerful winds of a cyclone. It'll be the chaotic Pokemon that isn't exactly a dark type because it's still heroic, but is sometimes a little bit too much to handle, you know? So originally I wanted to have an erratic and energetic design, but that'll make it tough to add details, and honestly Pokemon aren't that kooky in their official art, you know? I gotta take Crash's face and Pokemonify it, which means making the eyes a bit less cartoony and proportions a bit more animal-like. I'm making it a bit less anthropomorphic, less human attributes basically, so more animalistic limbs. Its shape is almost like a tornado, which is emphasized by its stripes. That's why it's still iconically triangular and bipedal, but it'll still look a bit more animal-like with this pose. Now it's all about changing the proportions to make it look even less humanoid. Its butt will have some fur that looks like an explosion, and a tail that looks like a wick. It'll have its iconic orange, but with blue and green stripes instead of pants, red paws instead of shoes, and gloves. Check out Psyclash, the insane Pokemon, a fighting type. Psyclash is brave and heroic, yet chaotic and unpredictable. They love to have fun and torment strong Pokemon, but will defend those weaker than itself. They're impulsive, yet adept when it comes to serious combat. They're able to cause massive damage by rapidly spinning as they move, causing a devastating cyclone. Scientists have studied the possibility of using Psyclash as a power source. They have the abilities Steadfast and Vital Spirit with the hidden ability Limber. Their shiny is actually a reference to Crunch Bandicoot. I originally wanted to include the flying typing since this Pokemon will be able to use a ton of wind-based moves, but Psyclash doesn't really fly. I guess wind type would have been useful in this case. I'm a huge fan of the combination of blue, cyan, green, and orange, so this color scheme reminds me of Florida, which Psyclash definitely embodies. I love finding ways of incorporating their original clothes when translating these characters into Pokemon, and these spiral patterns work for me. It's definitely more cartoony than the average Pokemon, but we kinda need that vibe for a Crash Pokemon. Now, the single most requested character since the beginning of this series is actually the protagonist from Hollow Knight. The Knight is such a fantastically designed character, so I don't want to deviate too much from the original design, but I want to give it more context and attributes that make it a bit more clear what the Pokemon's type is. I want to make it Ghost Bug, and it'll turn its cloak into moth wings, but also take inspiration from the Knight's Lord of Shadows form. I think that's what it's called. Since I think it's reminiscent to the hair pencils that moths can have. If you don't know what that is, I'm about to show you if you are very scared of bugs. Don't look at this. Skip 10 seconds. This is what I'm talking about. I want to take real-world inspiration and make it part of the cloak that the Pokemon has. I'm literally going to draw the Knight, but then give him 2 needles for arms. Then his cloak will just be more wing-like, and give it these hair pencils as a tail. I'm going to make the front of its cloak look more like a collar, kinda like the fur on a moth, then way more explicit wings. I wanted to find a way to make it more interesting and detailed like an actual Pokemon, so I gave its face these lines which added more definition. I gave it a smile, but Hollow Knight's fans expressed how they preferred the Knight without a mouth, so that'll be scrapped in the final piece. I didn't want its body to be a black void. That's a bit boring for a Pokemon, so I made it more mummy-like, almost like it's covered in the silk of a silkworm moth. The colors are exactly what you expect them to be, although a bit more vibrant. Behold, Husk Knight, the Vessel Pokemon, a Ghost Bug type. Husk Knight spends the entire night wandering the forest. They enjoy adventuring into dangerous territory to consume any infectious or harmful substances. Those toxins are stored inside its hollow shell. It uses its snail-like arms to attack enemies. It can spin like a drill or charge its energy for a large slash. Its wings allow this Pokemon to become intangible for a limited amount of time. It can dash through its foes and pierce them from the inside. This courageous Pokemon is filled with a sense of duty and honor, but deep down it wants to experience life to the fullest. It has a new ability called Mask Off. Whenever its HP is depleted to 0, it will revert into its shade form with a third of its HP back. Its shiny is a reference to the Knight's sister, Hornet, another character people requested for this series. This is probably the most unchanged design, probably because the Knight is already a well-designed character who is both cute and mysterious, which translates well as a Pokemon. I hope I did this character justice, even though I've never consumed any Hollow Knight media. It's one of my favorite designs from this series. A ghost bug always makes for an interesting Pokemon. Now let's make something a little bit sus. An Among Us Pokemon based on a crewmate may sound easy, but considering it literally has no attributes that a Pokemon would have, and is incredibly minimal, I will have to invent a completely different or new creation that resembles a crewmate. The question is whether or not this Pokemon will be an imposter or not. I think I want to make a design that combines both aspects of Among Us. So this Pokemon is basically going to be a parasitic space ghost, but also an astronaut. It'll take inspiration from bugs, but it won't be a bug type. I mean, we're starting out with an Amogus, another super simple design that we're gonna need to add on top of. I thought I'd add vines. Okay, this is stupid. It has nothing to do with the concept. So what if I did something completely different? What if I made a monster with Among Us features? Let's make a large crewmate, make its body more animalistic. It'll have an outer shell like a bug, and more monstrous legs. It'll have a hidden mouth on its belly, so the imposter mouth doesn't come out of nowhere like in the game. Some more lines, so it's not a featureless blob. The problem is whether or not to make the helmet window thing a head or one giant eyeball. I guess we'll find out after I color it in. It's an eye. But it doesn't really look like a Pokemon, honestly, and I don't like giving my Pokemon flesh-colored bodies. In the end, to make it more clear, I opened up the mouth and made the body a ghostly blue like the visors. I gave it a ghostly hand that pops out of its body like in the game, but it also works in the Pokemon universe as well. The final version will have a bit more consistent details. Here is Suspector, the suspicious Pokemon, a ghost type. This fickle Pokemon can be loyal one second and ravenous the next. It's always hungry and loves to consume souls, but will resist its hunger to perform any task it has been given. It can transform into other Pokemon to utilize their abilities in order to finish their job, but may be compelled to stay in that form in order to disguise itself and steal the soul of its victim. They are able to survive in the harshest environments. Some believe this Pokemon came from outer space. They have the ability Imposter, which allows them to transform when sent out. As you can tell, crewmates don't really have many attributes, so I combined them with the Imposter, Shapeshifter, and Ghost to make this Pokemon represent Among Us as a whole. It's definitely the most different so far, since a crewmate's design is so minimal. It's very unnatural for a Pokemon, but it's a ghost type, so that works regardless. I didn't want to make a meme Pokemon, but I didn't want the design to diverge too much, while still being a serious Pokemon. I like how bug-like it is, almost like a space parasite. Finally, it's time for Shantae. Shantae has such a great personality for a Pokemon. I won't make her into a literal half-genie Pokemon, but it will still have the aesthetic of one. Instead, I'm going to lean into Shantae's hair powers. So how about I make a grass-type Pokemon with hair made of vines that it can use to not only fight, but also shapeshift. This Pokemon will be able to wrap its body in vines in the shape of other Pokemon, as a nod to Shantae's transformations. I don't have any animal I want to base this Pokemon on, so it'll be another plant fairy. This way I can make her jewelry and clothes out of fruit and vines, just like a lot of these kind of Pokemon, you know. I mean, I'll begin by drawing a feminine humanoid in a peppy pose. Gotta have these baggy harem pants. I'll find a way to justify them later. Pretty eyes and a ponytail. I added her tiara and ears, but now it looks like a straight up human, so I decided to protrude the brow, and now it looks like her head is a flower. This totally works. Her hair will be made of vines, and so will her top. I think we're getting somewhere. I'll adjust the proportions so it's not as tall as an actual human, and added lines to make her pants resemble an onion-like bulb. Something plant-like, I guess. Vine bracelets and dainty hands. The ponytail is straightforward. They're long, immaculate vines. Then I add green, because that's the color of chlorophyll, and then I fiddle around with the colors to make it look like a grass fairy type. Thank God gold works with green, so its plant jewelry can still look natural. Say hi to Vinymph, the vine Pokemon, a grass fairy type. Vinymph live on top of tall trees so they can spot trouble. They will use their vine hair to descend and swing through the forest in order to save those in need. Vinymph will use its hair as a whip to attack foes. Its hair is dense enough to be wrapped around Vinymph for protection. Vinymph will wrap itself in its hair vines in order to mimic the shape and appearance of other Pokemon, granting her the strength and abilities of those she transforms into. As a last resort, this Pokemon will begin to dance, summoning the elements in the process. Vinymph has the abilities Dancer and Magician with the hidden ability Imposter. Her shiny is a reference to Shantae's normal color scheme. This one is definitely the most different design-wise, but very much keeps the personality and charm of Shantae. I'm glad I was able to find a shape for this Pokemon, since I didn't have any animal in mind. It's basically another feminine grass-type Pokemon, but way more appealing. I love how natural the vine ponytail looks. And I hope you enjoyed this design too. If you loved this video, leave a like and make sure to check out the previous episodes and my other art videos for even more adorable designs. Subscribe if you haven't, and let me know which other video game characters you want to see as Pokemon. Make sure to check out my podcast with Birdkeeper Toby. It's on screen now, and consider becoming a patron or clicking the join button to get cool rewards like seeing my videos days early and a huge discount on the t-shirts I made for you guys. And bye!